Hello everyone, I'm Christine Emerson and welcome to my comprehensive code review of my Android app, FitTrack. This project was shaped during my time in CS360 Mobile Architect and Programming course. It holds significant place in my academic journey, particularly as part of my cs499 capstone study. FitTrack is more than just another mobile application. It's a practical fitness tool designed to facilitate users in tracking their weight. It's coded in Android Studio and combining Java and XML. It covers essential functions such as user registration, login, weight tracking, and goal setting. Additionally, it stands out by sending users motivational text messages upon reaching their weight goals. Throughout this video, we'll be meticulously dissecting the code base, analyzing its current state, identifying areas requiring refinement, and discussing the roadmap for future improvements. Our exploration will encompass the app's fundamental components, including the user registration process, login functionality, the integrated BMI calculator, weight data input, and the weight goal setting feature. In the tech industry, code review is a vital practice. It ensures that not only does the app function as intended, but also that it's structured efficiently and securely. This informal code review is a crucial step in enhancing my ePortfolio in CS499. Our focus today will revolve around three fundamental aspects of computer science, which is software engineering and design, algorithms and data structures, and databases. We'll examine the existing code, highlighting areas of concern and potential vulnerabilities, and discussing the planned enhancements. So let's first start with how a user signs up. I'll provide an overview of how this feature currently functions within the app. So the sign up activity class right here. This is the Java class in FitTrack that handles the sign up functionality of the Android application. So we're going to do a breakdown of the code and its analysis. So this class allows users to create an account by entering their name, username, phone number, and password, where the user database helper using the database helper to interact with our database and manage the user's input. In addition, permissions for SMS, custom notifications are also handled as well. The sign up activity class, it extends app combat activity class, which provides just the basic functionality for an activity. The class includes member variables for edit text fields, a database helper instance, and constants for permission codes, notification settings, and shared preference keys. Starting looking at the code, the first thing I want to look at is the onCreate method. So the onCreate method is called when the activity is created. It sets the layout for the activity, initializes the member variables, and sets the click listeners for the sign up button and a text view that redirects to the login screen. Then the is valid phone number, is valid name, and is valid username methods right here. So those methods, they implement the regular expressions for validating the phone number, name, and username formats respectfully. And then moving on to the show error method. This just displays a toast message with an error message. The check custom permission and request custom permission methods. These handle the custom permission for posting notifications. They check the permission if the permission is granted and request if it's necessary. And then the send notification method. This method sends a welcome notification to the user. It creates a notification builder with the specified title and content and uses a notification manager compat to display the notifications. And then the is first login method. So this method retrieves the value of the first login flag from shared preferences. And then moving on to the save user phone number. This method saves the user's phone number to the database, which is very important. Moving on to the request phone number. This method displays an alert dialog to confirm the user's phone number. It pre-fills the phone number field with the previously entered value and saves the updated phone number to the database. And then the send welcome SMS and send SMS methods. These just send a welcome SMS to the user's phone using the SMS manager class. If the SMS sending fails, the show SMS sending failure dialog method displays an alert dialog just to show the user to retry or skip the SMS sending. And then the navigate to login screen is next. This just starts the login activity and navigates to the login screen. And then the on request permission result method. This is just called when the user responds to a permission request. It's currently emptied, but it can be overridden to handle permission results. So now let's perform a thorough analysis of my code base that we just went over. I identified a few areas that need improvement. So as of now, I see that there's no bugs found in the code. The code follows the Java naming conventions and is well structured. Variable and method names are descriptive and they're meaningful. The code is properly indented and formatted, making it easy to read and understand. The code structure, it's structured in a logical manner, with the onCreate method being the entry point of the activity as discussed. The necessary views and fields are initialized, and the click listeners are set for the sign up button and redirect text. The code for handling sign up functionality is encapsulated within the click listener of the sign up button, which is great. The code is readable and easy to follow. Variable and method names are descriptive, making it clear what their purpose is. The code is properly indented, as I explained, formatted, which definitely enhances readability. Comments are used sparingly but effectively. However, adding, header comments at the top of the code to explain the class could be useful. The code appears to be efficient in terms of performance. There's no obvious performance bottlenecks or unnecessary operations. The code can be easily scaled to accommodate additional features or changes. The use of the database helper class definitely allows for easy management of the user data. The code follows good practices for separation of concerns, making it easier to modify or extend functionality in the future. However, the security is paramount. Passwords are just stored plain in the database, as you can see down here at the bottom. So to address this vulnerability, we need to incorporate some sort of stronger password hashing algorithm. This will definitely enhance the security of our users' data. It's also important to ensure that our users choose strong passwords. So introducing a password strength validation mechanism that enforces criteria such as, minimum length, etc. For the string resources, I've spotted a few hard-coded strings within our code, so that needs to be fixed to improve localization and maintainability. I've also, reevaluated how we handle errors and user feedback. While I currently use toast messages for basic user notifications, exploring more sophisticated error handling methods would be great for exceptional cases, which will lead to a more polished and user-friendly experience. And comments. So comments are essential for code understanding and maintenance. We're enhancing our code with detailed comments to document its purpose, functionality more effectively. So to address the issues raised in our code analysis, I have some planned enhancements. So for security, I'll be implementing the bcrypt password hashing algorithm to securely store users' passwords in the database. This is crucial for protecting users' account from unauthorized access. So that will be put here on line 77. password strength validation. So a password strength validation mechanism will be added to ensure that users create strong passwords. This will include requirements like minimum length, a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. So this will go right here. So this will be added to the same sign up button, click listener, ensuring that the user's passwords meet the defined criteria. So next we'll replace the hard-coded strings with the string resources to facilitate localization and streamline future app updates. So for example, here we can change that. All right, so moving on to enhanced comments. So our code will receive some additional comments and documentation to enhance clarity and maintainability. These comments will help anyone working on the code to understand its purpose and functionality. For example, at the top of the class, we can add a header comment just explaining what this class does exactly. And then for user feedback and error handling, I can enhance error handling with user-friendly messages. And in the case of critical errors, actions that prevent users from proceeding, which just leads to a more polished user experience. So by implementing these enhancements, we'll not only enhance the security of our app, but it'll also improve its code quality, user experience, and overall functionality. So now let's take a look at the login activity. Um, this class is responsible for handling the user login process, and it's crucial to ensure that it's efficient, secure, and well structured. So in this section, we'll explore the existing functionality of the login activity class, which plays a crucial role in managing the user's login process in the FitTrack application. It's essential to ensure that this class is efficient, secure, and well structured. I'll go over and provide a detailed walkthrough of the code highlighting its key features and functions now. So to start, so the login activity class, it sets the user interface elements, so including input fields for username and password, sign in button, and a remember me checkbox, as you can see here. So these elements are essential for users to be able to put in their login credentials and preferences. So the code just begins like any other code. It imports the necessary classes, packages, etc. In the onCreate method, we set the layout for the activity, initialize edit text button, text view, checkbox elements. We also create an instance of the database helper. Next, we check for stored credentials using the check and load stored credential. All right. And then we set up listeners for text changes in the email, password, edit text fields using TextWatcher class. The listeners enable or disable the sign in button based on the input. Which is right here. And then when the sign in button is clicked, we retrieve the email and password from the edit text field. If the fields are not empty, we validate the user's credentials using isValidUser method. If the credentials are valid, we navigate to the welcome activity. Otherwise, we display an error message. If the user clicks sign up text, we navigate to the sign up activity. And then for the is valid user method, it checks for the user's credentials against the database using the dbhelper.isValidUser method. And then the save credentials if checked method retrieves the stored email password from shared preferences if remember me option is checked. And then finally, the onStop method. This just is overridden to save the user's credentials if remember me option is checked. So the overall assessment, the existing functionality of the login activity is robust and well structured. It does ensure um, an efficient and secure user login process. It efficiently manages UI setup, credential, pre-filling, and user authentication, offering a seamless login experience to FitTrack users. But now let's move on to the code analysis. We'll target areas for improvement in structure, logic, efficiency, functionality, security, testing, commenting, and documentation. So the code does adhere to the basic Android structure. However, we should keep an eye on potential over complexity in the future as the application grows, which is very important. Documentation. So the code is reasonably documented, but there's definitely room for more comments to enhance readability and maintainability. Variable names are clear and meaningful, and their types are consistent. There don't appear to be any redundant variables. Um, the code does not compare floating point numbers for equality, which is good practice. It also prevents rounding errors. For the loops and branches, they are correctly nested and common cases are tested first. However, there's room for some optimizations in that area. Defensive programming. So the code performs bound checking for indexes, pointers, and subscripts, ensuring data validity. So let's now discuss some enhancements based on this analysis. So improve documentation. Of course, we need to improve the code comments to make sure they're readable, maintainable. I mean, there's a lot that could be added in here, including the header explaining this class yet again, etc. So the code optimization. So there's an opportunity to refactor some of the sections for the code efficiency. For instance, we can streamline the text watcher implementation, just down here. Um, User feedback and error handling. We can enhance the error handling definitely by providing more user-friendly messages, and in case of critical errors, actions that prevent users from proceeding. It'll definitely improve user experience. Password strength validation. Currently, there's no password strength validation. I will be implementing a stronger password validation, including minimum length, uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters, as we discussed in sign up activity. Addressing these enhancements will make the login process more robust, secure, and user friendly. In conclusion, the login activity serves its core function well. However, there's always room for improvement in code quality, documentation, and user experience. All right, so let's head over to BMI calculator activity. In this section, we'll dive into the existing functionality of the BMI calculator class. It's a vital component in our fitness application. Although it wasn't a course requirement for CS360, its addition is definitely noteworthy as it enhances the utility of the weight tracking app. This class is responsible for calculating the BMI based on user input. So let's walk through the existing functionality, analyze its code and structure, and explore potential enhancements. So first, the code structure. So the code provided is structured as followed. It first starts out with the onCreate method. So the onCreate method is just called when the activity is created. It initializes the layout, retrieves references to the UI elements, sets click listeners for buttons, and initializes the weight button and goal weight button. And then show logout confirmation dialog method, which is here. This method, it just displays an alert dialog to confirm the user's logout action. It inflates a custom layout for the dialog. It sets click listeners for the confirm and cancel buttons and performs the necessary actions when user confirms the logout. Move on to the calculate BMI. So I feel this is the most important method. This method's called when the user clicks the calculate button. It retrieves the weight, height, feet and inches, and gender values entered in by the user. Then it calculates the BMI using the provided formula and categorizes it based on gender. The result is displayed in the text view result. And then the get BMI category, male and female. These methods, they just categorize the BMI into different weight categories based on gender. They return a string representing the weight category. So overall, the BMI calculator activity class, although it's not a course requirement, definitely enhances the functionality of the fitness application. It efficiently manages user input, BMI calculation, category determination, and seamless navigation to related features. The inclusion of a logout feature ensures that the user account security. Um, with their with these existing features in place, the class does serve a valuable addition to the app. Um, it does improve its utility and user experience, in my opinion. So now let's dive into the code and identify areas for improvement. So let's start with structure. The code follows a standard Android structure. However, it's worth noting that it handles multiple functionalities, including logout and navigation. Modularizing the code for better maintainability is a great idea. Documentation. So the code is reasonably documented. Nevertheless, additional comments would make the code more self-explanatory for future developers and maintainers. Buttons. The code implements the logout functionality and the navigation buttons, enhancing user experience. The code accurately calculates BMI based on user input and correctly maps the BMI categories based on gender. Um, so let's discuss some planned enhancements that address the issues identified above. So I'm considering modularizing the code to separate functionality such as logout navigation and BMI calculation into distinct methods or classes. This will improve the readability and maintainability. For documentation improvement, I aim to expand the comments to make the code more self-explanatory. This includes documenting the purpose of the class, methods, input parameters, and expected outputs. Here, I'm definitely lacking comments. So for user experience, I plan to enhance the user experience by providing informative messages and validation checks, not just toast messages. This will help the users understand what they need to input and how to interpret the results. For UI and UX improvements, I'll also evaluate the user's interface to ensure that there's a consistent and appealing design, as it significantly contributes to the user experience. So in conclusion, the BMI calculator activity is a crucial part of our fitness application, as I've discussed. It efficiently handles BMI calculations. There's opportunity for code modularization, improved documentation, and user feedback. So now let's head over to the weight record activity, which is more of a extensive code compared to the others. So in this section, we'll explore the extensive existing functionality of the weight record activity. The most important component of the fitness application, in my opinion, because it lets the users be able to record their weight, which essentially is the whole purpose of this application. This class manages weight records, offering features for adding, editing, viewing, and visualizing the recording data. So let's dive into the existing functionality, dissect its code structure, and evaluate the planned enhancements. So, just like the other classes, this method is called when the activity is created, the onCreate method. It initializes the database helper, shared preferences, recycled view, and other views. It also sets click listeners for buttons and initializes the toggle. And then the show log out confirmation dialog. This method displays a dialog to confirm the user's logout action. It clears the user's authentication state, displays a logout message, and navigates back to the login activity. And then the show add wait dialog. This method displays a dialog for adding a new wait entry. It includes a form with a date picker and date wait input field. It validates the input and adds the new entry to the list, database, and graph. And then the is valid wait. So this method, it checks if the wait input is valid, ensures that the wait is not empty and falls within a valid range. The get goal wait. This method retrieves the user's goal wait from the database. It returns the most recent goal wait entry or 0 if no entries found. The get user phone number. This method just retrieves the user's phone number from the database using their username. It returns a phone number as a string. The send goal wait SMS. So this method just sends an SMS to the user if their current weight is equal to or less than the goal weight. It checks if the user has accepted SMS messages, which is very important because you don't want to be sending messages to somebody who does not approve it, and retrieves their phone number from the database. Format date. So this method just formats the date string from year, month, day to month, day format using simple date format, which definitely helps with user experience. Makes it just more simple and pretty to view. And then the on edit click. So this method's called for when the edit button is clicked on a wait entry. It shows a dialog for editing the wait entry. And then the on delete click method. This method is called when the delete button is clicked on a wait entry. It deletes the wait entry from the list, database, and graph. And then the show edit wait dialog. This method displays a dialog for editing a wait entry. It pre-populates the form fields with the current data and updates the entry in the list, database, and graph. And then finally update graph, which is below. So this method, it updates the graph with the latest weight entries. It converts the weight data to data point objects and creates a line graph series to display the line graph. It also customizes the labels and titles of the X and Y axis. So the overall assessment, the weight record activity class encompasses a wide range of features that make it a comprehensive tool for users to track their weight and achieve their fitness goals. It excels in terms of recording weight entries, providing a visual representation of the data, and facilitating user interactions. The addition of unit conversion, goal weight management, and SMS notification definitely adds substantial value to the fitness application. As such, the class not only satisfies current user requirements, but also sets the stage for further enhancements to evaluate the user's experience. But let's discuss the code and identify any areas for improvement. So structure, for example, the code does follow the standard Android structure. However, as the functionality is quite extensive, we could consider modularizing the code to make it more manageable and readable. Database handling. So the code interacts with a local database to store and retrieve weight entries. It is well organized and it handles CRUD operations efficiently. The graph visualization. The code incorporates a graph to visualize weight data, which is an excellent addition to the users to track their progress. But we could add on to that as well to make it more customizable. SMS notifications. So the code allows sending text messages upon reaching a goal weight, which is really a valuable motivational feature. So let's discuss the planned enhancements that address potential areas for improvement and additional features. So first, we're going to look at code modularization. So we'll be breaking down the code into smaller and more focused methods or classes to improve readability and maintainability. This will make future updates and debugging more efficient. The user interface. The user interface can benefit from improvements, refining the design and layout to enhance the user experience. A polished UI can significantly impact user engagement. Um, Validation and error handling. So I will be implementing a more robust input validation to ensure that users enter valid data, because as of now, we do not have that, and provide informative error messages when they don't. Documentation. So I will, again, enhance code documentation with clear comments. It'll make it easier on myself and other developers to understand and maintain the code. Because again, I mean, I do have some great comments on this one. Um, However, there's no comment at the top explaining what this class does, which is very important again. Um, Unit testing. I will be adding unit tests, which I do not have as of now, to verify the correctness of critical functionalities, especially database interactions, which is very important. Efficiency. So optimizing the database operation for better performance, especially when dealing with a large number of wait entries, is very important. So that will be implemented. Graph customization. So I will provide options for users to customize the appearance of the weight graph, such as colors, labels, scaling, etc., which will help them with their weight journey. So in conclusion, the weight record activity is a feature-rich component of our fitness app that handles the weight entry management, visualization, and goal tracking. Planned enhancements aim to refine the code structure, improve the user interface, and enhance error handling. So let's dive into the final class that we're going to review. We don't have time to go over everything because this is an extensive app, but we will be going over the goal weight entry class right now. This class is relatively simple. It's well structured. It contains attributes including date and weight. Those are the primary attributes. So moving on to the constructor, it's a straightforward constructor. It enables the creation of the goal weight entry instance with both the date and weight attributes. For example, public goal weight entry right here. Nope, sorry, right here. All right. And then the getter and setter. So this class provides getter and setter for the date and weight attributes. It just ensures that these values can be easily retrieved or modified as needed. Just right here, which makes it super useful. And then moving on to the get goal weight method, which is right here. So this method just has been introduced to provide direct access to the goal weight value. It simplifies the retrieval process. And then the get formatted date, which is right here. So this method is just responsible for formatting the date attribute to ensure that it's consistent and user-friendly date representation for display. It uses a simple date format class to achieve this. So looking at it over, so the existing functionality of the get weight entry class, I feel is structured to efficiently handle the goal weight entries. It does make it a robust data structure for managing this specific aspect of the fitness application. The get goal weight method enhances accessibility to the goal weight value. Additionally, the get formatted date method ensures that dates are consistently displayed in the user-friendly format. Code does accommodate everything, exceptions, and gracefully defaults to the original date format when needed. So let's look at the code deeper. So for attributes, the class contains two main attributes, which we went over, which was date and weight. These attributes are appropriately encapsulated, which promotes data integrity. The getter and setters, this class has getter and setter methods, as explained before. For date and weight, it ensures data access adheres to encapsulation. So the date formatting, the get date formatting method, it's a useful addition. It really is. It takes the date and displays it from year to month from year to month to day format and converts it more friendly, month, day, and year, which more people are used to seeing. So while this class is generally straightforward, we can consider some minor enhancements. For example, validation. We can add validation to ensure that the date and weight meets specific criteria. For example, ensure that the date follows a particular format and that the weight is within the reasonable range, because it does not do that. I do not have any unit testing in this class, so I'm going to be implementing unit tests to verify the correctness of the date formatting and attribute access methods. Error handling. I will improve the error handling within the get formatted date method by providing a more descriptive error message in the catch block. And then again, like all of the other classes, I will be adding more comments to describe the purpose and usage of the class and its method, which will improve code documentation. Because just like the other classes, there is, one comment, but I could further extend that. So in conclusion, the goal weight entry class is well structured. It serves its purpose of, just doing the goal weights effectively for managing and formatting all of that. The suggested enhancements are minor, and they just focus on adding validation and improving documentation. So let's go over everything in summary. In this comprehensive code review video, we've discussed the core components of FitTrack Android weight tracking app. We examined the existing functionality, analyzed the code structure, and discussed planned enhancements to make the app more efficient, secure, and user-friendly. Our journey began with the sign-up activity, where we covered the user registration process. We also talked about the code quality and structure, with only a few minor suggestions for improvement. It was primarily focusing on security enhancements, password validation, string resource migration, and error handling, which is extremely important. These enhancements will enhance the user security and experience. We then transitioned into the login activity, which is responsible for the users logging in. The existing functionality was commended with a few opportunities identified for improvement, including better documentation, code optimization, enhanced user feedback, and strong password validation. By implementing these enhancements, the app login process will definitely be more robust. Next, we explored the BMI calculator activity. It's, like I said, a very valuable addition to the app for BMI calculation. The existing functionality was sound, offering essential features for BMI calculation. Code analysis has highlighted the need for improved documentation, modularization, user feedback, and potential UI, UX enhancements. The weight record activity we went over next. It's a feature-rich class for weight record management and visualization. The existing functionality was extensive, covering multiple aspects of data management. The planned enhancement included code modularization, UI improvements, validation, documentation, unit testing, efficiency optimization, and graph customizations. These enhancements will make the class more maintainable and user-friendly. Finally, the goal weight entry. So this class, it emphasizes, it's simple, well-structured design. There's not much to it. While no significant issues were found, potential enhancements included validation, unit testing, error handling, and comments to improve the overall code quality. So in conclusion, this code review has been a valuable exercise in understanding the strengths and areas for improvement within my FitTrack Android weight tracking application. By addressing these enhancements, I aim to create a more robust, user-friendly, and maintainable application that will benefit our users on their fitness journeys for the future. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this code review.